How's it going, Guardians? Shifty here, and today I'm back with another Legend Lost sector guide. Today I'm going to be covering one of the Moon Lost sectors. Now I know these lost sectors aren't quite as quick as many of the other ones, but they do make up a large portion of the rotation because there are 4 of them. With that in mind, I do want to make guides on these Moon Lost sectors. That way, if it's the only day where people can farm the lost sector, there is a guide available. In this one, we're going to be covering the K1 Crew Quarters Legend Lost sector. As you can see here, the champions are Barrier and Overload, there's Arc Burn, and there are going to be Solar Shields, and there's going to be quite a few of them because we have the Hot Knife modifier, which gives Solar Shields to Shanks. You can also see here that the recommended power is 1550, so if you are below that, you are going to struggle a bit more than I do in this video. Alright, now that we have the lost sector details out of the way, let's go over my loadout. Now I am going to be running on a Voidwalker Warlock here, but I don't use anything particularly Warlock specific, so this guide will remain general for the most part. So if you're on a Titan or Hunter, feel free to use this video as well. So on my Voidwalker Warlock, I went with the Cataclysm Nova Bomb, then I have the Vortex Grenade. Now this guide is supposed to be general, but I'm going to let you know what my aspects are anyway. I have Chaos Accelerant and Child of the Old Gods, and I don't think I use either one of these in the entire run. The fragments are more important because you can use these on any class. I have Echo of Remnants, I have Echo of Expulsion, and I have Echo of Undermining. For my weapon selection, I went with Arbalest because this is a great anti-barrier weapon, and it's great for taking out shields when match game is on. If you don't have Arbalest, I would recommend using a bow in its place. For my energy weapon, I have the new Come to Pass auto rifle, and specifically I have Adaptive Munitions. And that's going to make this more effective on non-matching shields in match game activities. Now, if you do not have an auto rifle with adaptive munitions, I would highly recommend using a solar auto rifle or a solar submachine gun. In my heavy slot, I have the Heretic Arc Rocket Launcher, and this is going to get that Arc Burn damage boost as well. You're pretty much free to use whatever you want in this slot. I would highly recommend using something that does arc damage though. And finally, for my armor mods, I'll just quickly show you each piece of armor, and if you need to see anything in more detail, just pause the video. Alright, and that is it for my loadout in this one. Now, let's get right into the run. Alright, so there is a lot of flexibility with this particular Legend Lost sector. We are going to just sit back here and pick off some enemies here until an Overload champion spawns. Now for this Legend Lost sector, you can pretty much use whatever subclass that you want as long as you have a decent damage super. If you want to take advantage of Void 3.0, you can go ahead and do that. If you want to use a subclass to help deal with solar shields, that's viable as well. Or you can use an Arc subclass to take advantage of the Arc Burn modifier as well. Alright, here is our Overload champion. I'm going to go ahead and stun it, toss a grenade, and then rocket it. And that should be enough to take it out. Now, I do not have any solar damage. However, I do have an Arc auto rifle with adaptive munitions. As you were able to tell, even with match game on, I was able to take out 2 Shanks with 1 magazine. Adaptive munitions makes it so that your weapon is a little bit more effective against unmatching shield types. And so I can use this Arc auto rifle combined with the Arc Burn and adaptive munitions against the solar shields. If you don't have this auto rifle, if you don't have adaptive munitions, you can go ahead and use a solar auto rifle instead. So I'm just trying to take out as many enemies as I can right here. I'm going to toss a grenade down there. We do have a barrier champion that spawned. You can see it right there. Let's try to take it out with Arbalest. That was the point of bringing such a weapon. Makes it extremely easy to take out the barriers like that. You're going to want to be careful for any marauders that show up. They may be invisible, so just be on the lookout. You also want to be careful because snipers will spawn up on those ledges eventually. And there were the snipers that I was mentioning. There's going to be one to the right and one to the left. Plenty of ammo lying around for me. So I'm not using anything particularly Warlock specific here because I do want to make this somewhat general for anyone to use. And I don't want to inflate the video by doing a run on each class for such a long Legend Lost sector. I almost died here because I wasn't paying attention. So at this point you really do want to be careful because there are 2 sniping shanks up top right there. There's a couple of options here. You can use your auto rifle to take them out, or you can try to use a heavy rocket. And that's going to at least take one of them out if you placed it correctly. For the other one, I'm going to use my adaptive munitions arc auto rifle. And I got some heavy ammo, so I'm going to go ahead and use a rocket on these 3 solar shielded shanks. And there's one more there, and now I'm going to go for the champion. If you do not have Arbalest, I highly recommend getting this weapon. It's such a great weapon for these sort of activities. Alright, so we are approaching the boss fight at this point in time. Just trying to clear out some of these extra ads here. Make sure everything's reloaded. Let's see how many ads are up here yet. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and do some damage to the boss here in just a second. 2 rockets. I'm going to pump 2 rockets into the boss here. And wait for the barrier champion to spawn out of this doorway back here. And another great use for Arbalest right there. Gonna fire one more rocket at the boss quick. Take out this Nightmare Dreg with another rocket. Use all my rockets. And at this point I'm going to go ahead and use my super. So if you don't have a damage super, you can just keep damaging it with your weapons like Arbalest. Otherwise, that's going to be it for the Lost Sector. There are no more champions, so we will get a platinum rating. And that is the Legend K1 crew quarters complete on a Warlock. Now, as I mentioned, I am on a Warlock, but that shouldn't change anything. Pretty much the only thing that I used that was Warlock specific was the super at the very end. And there's plenty of damage super options for both Titans and Hunters, including on Void 3.0. So I hope that you enjoyed today's video, and if you did, remember to like and subscribe. I just want to thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.